Welcome, everybody. What a weekend. We have an extraordinary situation right now in the 2024 presidential election. There's no other way to say it. There are competing narratives for how to understand the impact of last week's very poor debate performance by President Joe Biden. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. If what you are looking for is a frenetic, feverish, and unhinged black or white perspective on what's going on, this is not the show for you. If I were doing it for the clicks, I would either be telling you it is obvious that Biden must get out right now because he can't win and anyone else could, or I would be telling you it is obvious that Biden must stay in until the end because no one else has a shot. I'm not going to give you that here, because that would be dishonest. I will be honest with you. I don't know which of the two competing narratives is right. And to some degree, it's impossible to know because all of them are based on predictions about what will happen in the future. You can't be right about a predictive statement until we've assessed the outcome in the political world, which will not happen until November. So I will give you the two competing narratives, and then you can think for yourself and tell me at info@davidpakman.com which narrative resonates more with you. But I will warn you that there is a risk. If you want to hear that one of the two competing narratives is right and the only one, you can find that comfort by tuning over to whoever, where I've already been seeing just reflexive 110% confident in one or the other narrative, telling you whichever story you want to hear. Now, the reality is that it is not that clear. The first narrative is that after Joe Biden's disastrous debate performance last week, Biden cannot possibly win. He messed up too badly. It's obvious that he just cannot do it physically. Biden should either drop out of the race or will face certain defeat in November against convicted felon and civilly liable rapist Donald Trump. On the other hand, is a different argument, which is that while Biden's debate performance was indeed terrible, it doesn't fundamentally change the race. Election forecaster Alan Lichtman is partial to that explanation, where he says that really what determines the outcomes in elections like these are not debates, but factors like incumbency, whether there are foreign wars the U.S. is engaged in, the state of the economy, and so-called other keys that Lichtman has developed. And it is true that the debate doesn't change any of that. In addition, the debate had lower viewership than debates in the 2020 election, and so even the impact of the poor performance may be smaller than many think. Maybe most importantly, Biden not doing well in the debate is not a very good reason to go and vote for a convicted felon rapist for president instead of Biden because of a bad performance. Now, the bad performance might depress turnout. We have months until the election, so we just don't even really know. So this gets to whether it makes sense to replace Joe Biden on the ticket and understand the chaos of that, but it is not an impossibility. The question I have, the only question I care about, is does it help defeat Trump to replace Biden on the ticket? The answer is not yet clear. Whatever you think about Joe Biden, somehow he has managed to maintain a strong economy, improve upon a bunch of problems in the country, repair relationships with allies that were destroyed relationships under Trump. Why would you vote Trump based on a bad debate performance by the guy who has fixed many of the things Trump broke? Additionally, it hasn't been discussed because Biden's performance has been understandably front and center, but Trump's performance at the debate was a disaster. And this is an interesting, I did borderline panic after Thursday's debate. Swing voters who were holding devices where they would go, I like what I'm hearing, I don't like what I'm hearing. Those swing voters showed that Trump's favorability plummeted in the debate every single time he opened his mouth. And so a lot has been made rightly about Biden's disastrous performance, but it has gone less discussed that Trump's performance turned voters off significantly. Now, in addition, Imagine Biden does drop out. There won't be another primary, which means that the Democratic Party insiders will decide who is the nominee instead of the voters. I don't know if that's a winning strategy. I don't know whether voters who are sort of like, yeah, Biden's performance wasn't good, but Trump I really hate, and we really need someone who at least has shown that the country is stable under their leadership. All of a sudden, Democratic Party insiders pick a new candidate. Does that turn off some Democratic voters? I don't know. I'm not doing this rhetorically. I don't know. Now, one other thought I have on step aside, and maybe Biden will, maybe he will not. Calls for Trump to step aside make just as much sense. The rapist convicted felon should step aside and allow the Republican Party to nominate a more normal candidate. That's just as legitimate as Biden step aside. The difference is it doesn't seem that MAGA, which controls the Republican Party, is going to have any of that. Now, we also need to discuss the polling story, which is a factor. I believe that the only real thing that will get Biden to drop out is sustained worsening polling since the debate, in addition to family advice for him to drop out. Now, the reporting from Sunday is that the family advice so far is to continue fighting. But we will see whether that changes. And the clear consensus of just your everyday American, because remember, I'm steeped in this stuff. You're steeped in this stuff by virtue of the fact that you listen to this show, that you watch this channel on YouTube. We follow this stuff in a way that the average voter does not. The average voter seems to have come away with the impression that both candidates were bad, but for different reasons. And it's not clear that the debate swayed a significant number of them either way, particularly in the swing states that the election is likely to come down to. So I can really see both sides here. Ultimately, I have zero influence over whether Joe Biden steps aside or not. I'm going to do what I can to prevent a Trump presidency. The numbers so far don't make an awesome case that someone could step in and do better than Biden. And at the same time, the performance was very bad. And it's not a crazy thing to say that maybe there is someone who is more functionally ready to do this. Although the fact that the country has been so much better off under Biden than under Trump does certainly undercut that fear. So that's where we are right now. That's where my thoughts are. Now, in the rest of the show, we will get into some of the actual polling reaction. We will get into Biden's public reaction to the debate. We will get into Trump's public reaction. We will get into what right-wing media is saying. We're going to go to all elements of this. And first, let's go to Joe Biden's reaction to his own poor debate performance. So I have a friend, I'm not going to say who, has a cat. I'd go over to his house, and the cat's food would stink. Let's be honest. I would sometimes feed it a couple of times, and I would just dread it because of the smell of the food. If you're still feeding your cat that low quality stuff, check out our sponsor, Smalls. Smalls cat food has protein-packed recipes made only with preservative-free, human-grade ingredients that you'd find in your fridge. That's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality, and it is delivered right to your door. My friend told me their cat likes Smalls way more than the old cat food. I can confirm it smells way better. Smells like something humans would eat. And that's really the point. Other cat food brands put their wallets first. They fill their quote-unquote food with mysterious meat byproducts and artificial flavoring and colors and preservatives. Feed your cat the human-grade food they deserve. Head to smalls.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman at checkout for 50% off your first order and free shipping. The link is in the description.